and welcome to Project Life Weekly. I have recently been filming at the beginning of the week and then editing and doing voiceovering towards the end of the week. So my schedule's a little bit off, but we're diving in here to Project Life Weekly. I just showed you my crafty planner slash notebook. It is working really well for me. It is not something that I'm using every single day or something that every single time I am doing a project, like I'm making some elaborate plan, but it is allowing me to jot down thoughts or work on ideas, and I definitely have been using it. So I originally thought that I might use these dies. They're sitting on my desk from a recent purchase, and I just haven't had time to open them up and play with them. And I was thinking originally I would use that. I will end up not using it quite yet. I may end up using it towards the time that I'm wrapping up the month of April, because that's what I'm working on. So stay tuned for that. The layout that I am going to put together right now is going to be about Kayla driving doing her driving test and passing and getting her license. And this is what's working out really well for me right now, is that I am basically thinking about my album in weekly terms. So you see my sticky note says week 14, Kayla's driving test. And typically what I would be doing before I sort of revamped the way I was doing things is I would just take a bunch of photos all month long, and then if there was something that I wanted to highlight, I would pull that out, such as Kayla's driving test, her going in to do her driving test to get her license. I would just highlight that, sort of like what I'm doing right now. The difference now, what I'm doing is I am breaking things up into weeks, and I'm just using the week number sort of as a bracket. So I know that I may have, 4 or 5 stories I want to highlight during the month. And by me breaking up my weeks or my month into weeks, I have been able to say, okay, I'm going to highlight for week 14, Kayla's driving test. And maybe there's other stuff that went on that week. Maybe there's not, but that's what I'm choosing to focus on. I really like doing it this way. I am feeling more inspired, and when I jot down different notes or I have different thoughts about what I want to highlight, it's working out in a really great creative way for me. I know that it may seem a little bit excessive or like I'm making it harder than it needs to be. Honestly, it's just about the creative process for me. And then if there's weeks that nothing happens, I was sick for 2.5 weeks of April, and so there was not a lot of extra things happening. I was sick, and I wasn't really, I was just surviving, right? I was just doing the things to make it through to get better. We all sort of were sick throughout the month of April. So for those 2 weeks, I'm not feeling pressure to make something happen for those weeks. I just know okay, nothing happened during that time that I want to highlight. Or sometimes one of the things that I did during the time that I was sick is I knew I wasn't taking a lot of photos, but I was wanting to feel creative and I was wanting to be in that space, but I really didn't have the energy or the ability to do that. So I have a layout that I'm going to be doing in the next couple weeks that is going to be for one of those weeks that I was sick, and I'm going to take an idea that I had and I'm going to make a layout for it. Now, I won't necessarily call these layouts week 14, or I won't necessarily be week 16 is this layout that I did. But it is a way for me to keep things organized. And then if I don't have a lot of photos, I think we all go through that where we have more photos than, maybe we took more photos last month than we did this month, or we have big things going on, so we forget to take photos, or we have big things going on and we take a lot of photos. So this is a great way just for me to keep things organized in my head, basically, and to figure out different things that I want to share in our albums or different things that I want to highlight. So hopefully that makes sense. And as I go on through the next few weeks, I hope that you will start to see this, like the flow that I've settled into. I think it has been really good. So for Kayla's, the photos I have for Kayla's test, I am doing a 6x8 page. It is a pocketed page, so it has a 4x6 slot on the bottom and then two 3x4s on the top. I am making a hinge here so I can have a flip up. I fussy cut the word adventure out of one of those cards that I had, and I will put that on that photo. To make a hinge, all I do is I cut it the length of the photo. So this photo is a 4x6 photo, so 6 inches, and then I do 2 inches, and then I fold it in half. So that allows a 1-inch flap to attach my photos. I'm going to attach the photo that's going to go on the bottom, on the inside of the flap right there. And I don't go all the way up to the seam. I leave a little bit of space right there so that the hinge or the photos that end up getting attached will close properly or lay more flat. So then I'm going to put the photo that's going to go on the top that will essentially, this is the part that's going to lift up. I'm going to put that photo on top of that flap. So at first, you got to really think about where you're putting your photos. And then after you've done it a couple times, it just gets easier. I line the photo up on the bottom. So you saw the top photo, I line it up on the bottom so that they're the same size when it goes in the pocket. It leaves a little bit of that white showing at the top. I don't mind that. And then on the inside, you can either do another photo. I have definitely done 3 photos before, or you can do journaling, or like I'm doing here, you can do a combination of both. I trimmed that photo down. That is her driver's license that came several weeks later, and we put it on her bed and for her to open when she got home. And so I snapped a photo of that. I didn't need the full 4x6 photo, so I trimmed it down, and then I'm adding a little bit of pattern paper here, or like a pattern card. This is one of the 4x6 cards that I'm just trimming down. It works out because I'm having to trim these cards anyways, because they do have rounded corners, so I have to trim them up anyways, and so adding them here is perfect. It gives a little bit of color, and then I may add some more journaling to this and just do share sort of what we did before her test. She had not had a lot of practice driving in the rain. We live in California where, you know, it never rains. And so she hadn't had a lot of practice driving in the rain. And unfortunately, her test fell on a day where it was raining. And so she didn't go to school. First thing, she had a class that she could easily skip, so she stayed home, and we drove around in the rain for about an hour so that she could get used to, you know, driving in the rain, using her windshield wipers, just get more comfortable with it since she hadn't had a lot of practice with that. And we took the route that they go on for the test, so she'd be really familiar with that space. We live in a really small community, so it's not really difficult to do that or know where they take the people to do the tests. So we did that, and it was really fun to do that. Not only was it fun to do that, but, you know, we were all very nervous. She was nervous. We were nervous. And so I might, on the flip side of that, where you're looking at right now, I might add that journaling, because I did not add that journaling when you see me do my journaling. So I might go back and do that. I'm not positive. It really will probably come down to time, if I have enough time to do that when I wrap things up for the month of April. So I fussy cut that adventure out, and then I just attached it to the actual page protector. So I didn't attach it to the photo, but you totally could do that. You could also stamp something like that on that photo. Tomorrow, I will have my next video in my stamping series, and we do stamp on a photo, and I also mess it up and have to fix it right on camera with you, so stay tuned for that for tomorrow. But you could totally stamp on that photo instead of fussy cutting. Whenever you're using these core kits and they have so many cards, I always encourage you to cut them up and use them in different ways. This one right here was a 4x6 and I trimmed it down so it would be a 3x4. I might put week 14 under noted, or I might add some handwritten journaling to that. I was not positive, so I went ahead and I end up just leaving it blank because I'm not exactly sure. I'm also not at a place where I am doing any embellishing of any of my pages. Currently, I'm just trying to get them into page protectors. Last week, we sorted all of the photos and pulled all of our page protectors and got everything set up. And now this week, we're diving into doing our actual layouts and pages. And then when I have all of my pages together, I will come back and do any embellishing. And that is just like the way that I like to work, and the way that works best for me is to do this in batches. So currently I'm focused on trimming up my photos and making my hinges and getting them in page protectors and cutting down cards, and it's easy for me to just stay in that mode. You will see that I do some journaling on this page, and then tomorrow you'll see that I print up some more journaling. And I don't typically like to do that, break up those tasks, and I have wasted a lot of paper by just printing one journaling card out at a time. Like I'll print one out for this layout, and then I'll print one out for the layout I will be sharing tomorrow. And it is a waste of paper for sure, and then it's a waste of time when I stop in the middle of being creative to stop and do my journaling. But I'm really wanting you to see the pages pulled together and when journaling needs to go in a spot. So that is something that I definitely, I don't necessarily like working that way. I would rather be doing all of the same tasks at one time. It's easier for my brain to, sort of stay on task and get more done. But I have just broken up those tasks as I'm, filming this week. So here I'm just adding the photos to the pockets. I'm going to go ahead and attach this one on the back, and this is the hinge. So the back of that has, you can see where that hinge is, and then I don't know why actually that I glued this down. You don't have to, because it would sit in the pocket. So I'm not positive. It just was what I did in the moment. But you don't have to attach that with adhesive, because you can just slide it into your pocket. And then you can see that that adventure was right on the page protector and not the photo. And then this photo was a fun photo. This was the first time we dropped off the car to her at school. No, I'm sorry. She had taken the car to school, but it needed gas. And so when we went over to do grocery shopping, we stopped at the school, got the car, filled it up with gas, and then brought it back and dropped it off. And then we texted her, hey, we put gas in the car. And it was kind of this really surreal moment where we said, like, we have to drop the car off for Kayla, or we have to get the car from Kayla. And it was like, how are we getting a car from Kayla or dropping the car off for her? Like, isn't she only like 7? Like, how is she 17 and driving? So that is, sometimes milestones with kids are milestone for parents too. And while this is a really huge milestone for her, this is also, she is our first. And so for our first to be getting their license, and next year she'll be graduating, and that is just a huge milestone for us, and so weird to look back at. And so that is why this layout has several different photos. So I could have just had a photo of her, at the DMV, the classic standing under the DMV sign, yay, she passed. Like, that could be it, right? I could have done that photo large. I could have printed that photo large, and for like my week 14, I could have had one large photo of Kayla standing, there that she had passed. What I decided to do with this layout when I was thinking through, which again, I used my planner notebook to flush these ideas out or when I was thinking through them, what I chose to do is several photos from over a period of time. So there was a photo of us in the car with her driving around that morning. There was the photo of her at DMV, so passing, and then the photo of her getting ready to go on the actual test, like sitting in the car waiting for the guy to come and do the test with her. And then there was this photo of her driver's license coming, which came several weeks later. So you can see that it's several photos over a period of time. And then the us getting gas in the car was from another, another day during that time. And so it tells the entire story. It tells a fuller story of the experience. And so that is definitely one way that you can document. You don't have to only document things that stand out that happen in one day. Like all of these events did not happen in one day, but it tells the collective story. So here is my journaling card. I am still really loving doing my journaling like this. It is better if I do a group of journaling so that I don't have to just print out a journaling card on one sheet of cardstock and then cut it up. I will use that cardstock. I'll use it. I ended up using it for a couple other hinges that I needed. So I do end up using it, or I'll use it to stamp on, to do test stamping. The paper that I print all of my journaling on is 65-pound cardstock. It is Nina, that's the brand. It's Nina, and it's done at Walmart is where I get it. I've also gotten the Staple brand 65-pound cardstock, but it is a great cardstock to print on. It runs through my printer great. It's a little bit thinner, and so my journaling cards are a little bit thinner in here. Anytime I can cut down on the bulk that's in my album, it's always helpful. So now I'm going to go ahead and put this at the very beginning of the month of April. She took her test on April 1st, so I want it closer to the beginning of the month. It's in a 6x8. I still need to pick up some Avery Index tabs for my tabs that go on there. I need to do that. I just picked mine up on Amazon. The next thing I'm going to put in here is going to be my calendar. It is not complete. You can see that. I did add some paper and some washi tape to it, but I have not filled it out. I will need to do that. And then on the back side, I will definitely hold a little bit of memorabilia. I have a couple birthday cards that need to go in that. And then I have a couple things from the concert that we went to that will go in that. But that is the first layout for the month of April. And the next one you will actually see tomorrow when I do my stamp series video, because I did one of the projects that I do is for my Project Life album for April. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for Project Life Weekly. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I'll be back tomorrow with my third video for the stamp series that I've been doing this month. I hope that you're enjoying that. And then I will be back next week with more videos. So thank you guys so much, and I will catch you in tomorrow's video. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out my video. Here on the screen are 2 other videos that you can check out if you would like. If you're a member watching this video and you've missed any of the member videos, or you're new, you can go back and watch older member videos if you would like. Thank you so much for checking out my video, and I will catch you in my very next project.